Hey there, my name is Mike, and for the purpose of this video, I am a chef the same way Dr. Phil is currently a doctor, so you can call me Chef Mike. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to make a shooter sandwich quarantine-friendly style. Now, without consulting the internet at all, I know that a shooter sandwich is a steak sandwich that was made popular in the Edwardian era of England circa 1910. And its purpose was to be taken around for hunters to have a hearty meal to snack on throughout their trip. I'm also going to start this cooking video in medias res, which is to say in the middle of the action where we are already through the first part of cooking our New York strip steaks. Now, for this particular sandwich, I've selected two approximately 1 pound New York strip steaks, which I'm going to devour like Cronus. I've cooked them low and slow at about 220 in the oven, and then I broiled them for about 30 seconds to get that nice crust on the outside. It doesn't have to be New York strip. I've used grilled ribeye or sirloin. Really, the purpose is to have a steak that is tender and you can bite right through it in every bite as you traverse your shelter-in-place home. If I've learned anything from cooking blogs, it's that before you divulge the recipe's ingredients, you've got to list like some inane story about your family and the history and what it means to you. So as I was drinking my third bottle of wine the other day and my roommates were like, what should we eat next weekend? I was like, let's make shooter sandwiches, and that's it. That's the whole story. Anyway, in this sandwich, you're gonna have the aforementioned 2 pounds of New York strip steak, about 3/4 of a pound of bacon. We've got some onions, some garlic, a little bit of red pepper for sweetness, and some mushrooms that we're gonna make into something called a duxelle later. I'll explain. We've got Swiss cheese, we've got Dijon mustard, spicy horseradish, we've got Worcestershire sauce, salt, and pepper. That's it. When you're done with that, you put it all into one large sourdough boulet. That's it. That's all you need. As we've got the delicious ambient crackle of this bacon going in the background, let me tell you a little bit about that boulet. So this is what's gonna house your sandwich, and I'm gonna show you how in a second. So I'm really hoping for a boy. Please, blue confetti, please, blue confetti. Oh, dude, it's empty, because that's the point. You're supposed to rip out all of the middle. Now you can save it and use it for like croutons or something, or if you're like me, you can treat it like a delicious edible frisbee. Okay, so now that we've let our steak rest for an ample amount of time, we're going to slice it really thinly and against the grain so that we can achieve that perfect bite as we discussed. Bacon's almost done cooking, and then we can move on to the next part, which is our fancy duxelle, which I'm probably saying wrong. For our duxelle, I don't know, it's French, I think. Either way, it's traditionally comprised of mushrooms, garlic, shallots, parsley, and you cook it in butter. Now today, for our purposes, I'm varying it a little bit. I'm going with mushrooms, garlic, red onion, and red pepper to get a little bit of sweet zing to this sandwich. And instead of butter, I'm going to use the resources that I just made, which is the fat from the bacon, because we're not wasting any sabor. Now, when cooking with bacon grease, it's important to remember that you should protect yourself. You can achieve this by wearing your lounging overalls that you've been in for approximately 7 to 10 days or whatever time span it's been, and additionally by growing a bunch of hair above your upper lip and on top of your head. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, oh, you're doing food prep and you got a lot of hair running around, isn't that like not sanitary? Well, as recently as a month ago, popular science was telling us that we should go outside and, socialize with people in close proximity, so you tell me. Nearly done prepping our associated meats, sauces, and duxelle. The next step is to begin the construction phase of the sandwich. Now you've hollowed out your sourdough boulet, so the next step is to line it with spicy horseradish mustard. Let's go. The next phase of construction is we're going to layer our steak strips into this boulet with the cheese and mustard. Now, traditional recipes that I've never consulted often have you keep the steak intact, but again, our goal here in quarantine is quick access and biteability. So we cut them into smaller strips so you can easily just tear through that baby. The next step as we travel towards glory is to layer your bacon on top of the already resting steak. Now, you can never be too safe, so I went for a double layer. Once you've done that, I think it's important to note that in the interim, you were supposed to have made a sauce comprised of Worcestershire, Dijon mustard, salt, and pepper. So go back in time and do that. After the sauce, it's kind of just freestyle from there, because again, who looks at recipes? And in my haste to get this into the oven, I just decided cheese next. So once again, I'll go to my signature pose of bread bowl full of cheese. Next layer, we're gonna go for some steak, and then finally we'll top it off with the duxelle. Got that next layer of steak on there. The next step is to add the duxelle on top of it, and finally sauce up that boulet. Boom. All that's left to do before popping it in the oven is getting it into a foil home so it can lock all that flavor in while we melt some of that cheese and get the sauces running. Now, some traditional recipes that I hypothetically may have looked at in the past say that you don't need to put it in the oven for any amount of time. But I kind of took a while because I don't know how to make videos, so I'm just going to throw it in there for like 5 minutes. You don't have to. I kind of recommend it to melt the cheese. Let's see how it turns out. It's important to use 3 to 4 layers of foil because later we're going to need that stability as we are going to weigh this thing down for a long time. We've now got a densely wrapped package of steaky and saucy goodness. We're just going to pop it in the oven for 5 minutes at 400 and see where that takes us. Friends, we are on the precipice of glory right now. We've gone through all the construction. We've heated it up. We've wrapped it up. The next thing we have to do is weigh it down and then wait for a long time. Now, traditionally, I think they wrapped it in like wax paper and weighed it down with tree logs, but we're gonna improvise because we're stuck at home. So the first thing we're gonna do is, from our snazzy home gym, 25-pound plate, throw that on top. Get that right in the center. You don't really want to decimate the bread, it's just supposed to compact over time. The next thing we're gonna do is let people know we're cultured but understand the value of what we read. So, in its best form, I would say David Foster Wallace's Infinite Jest should be used as a weight for this sandwich. And finally, to complete the insult, I'm going to take a kettlebell, also from the home gym, so I can say that I pooed on Infinite Jest. So how long to wait and what to do? Well, it's recommended that you wait anywhere from 3 to 4 hours, and I know we all have really impacted schedules these days, so I was thinking I was going to just dive into some wine here. We've got a Halter Ranches cab. Just grab a glass really quickly. Get this open. Yeah. So just pour yourself a nice tall bottle. Should I start a tennis academy? Quarantine tennis academy? Online tennis academy? Oh, masterclass. Oh, shit, sorry. I didn't even see you there. So, it's been about 3 hours and I'm ready to show off the results. We have defoiled it, we have cut it, and let me show you what the cross sections look like. Here's it in half. You can see each beautiful layer of meat, cheese, and its respective toppings. It's flattened, it's compact, it's dense goodness that we want. I'm gonna try a bite right now, but I expect you to do the same. Make it, enjoy it, love it. Oh, awesome. Wow, it's on camera. This camera, this camera, this camera, this camera. That's what you're supposed to do.